bullet journals, daily planners, to-do lists. If you're anything like me, you've tried to solve the chaos of your life only to fail. Let's fix that. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video.
Hi there! I don't know if you know this, but my life is a mess. And it's not for lack of trying. I've used apps, planners, sticky notes, bullet journals, whiteboards. I own 4 whiteboards. Why do I own 4 whiteboards? But it's the same story every time. These organizational solutions work for a little bit, but then fail. It creates this cycle of planning, productivity, getting overwhelmed, giving up, and the cycle restarts when I see some new stationery and get inspired. I'm sick of it, and you may be too, judging by this Google Trend data on bullet journaling. Every year, without fail, people seek out this hobby only to inevitably peter out in this perpetual planning fallacy. It seems like we're doing something wrong, but what? And while it's important not to take graphs at face value, I made a whole video about it, I don't think my claim is too far off base. How many organization apps have you abandoned? How many planners do you own that are half empty? In this video, we're gonna figure out why that is, and more importantly, how to avoid it. Let's get started.
Of course, it all started with a Google search that led me through a rabbit hole of articles that ended at yet another 300-page book. This time, I read The Accidental Diarist, A History of the Daily Planner in America by Molly McCarthy. The book strings together analyses of old diaries and planners to identify the origin of the habit that inspired this video. You know, somebody commented on our last video that my job is basically making book reports, and it's not even a lie at this point. If I thought that book about olive oil was dry, well, this book was simply arid. Not to say it wasn't good, it was neat and romantic. However, I did the thing where you read the page, you get to the end, and then you realize you didn't register any information, so you need to do it again. Did that several times. Anyway, here is the evolution of the daily planner in America. It all starts with the almanac, kind of like the smartphone of the 16th century. It's an annual reference book with dates, weather forecasts, and other local information. This book was imported to colonial America alongside a habit of sewing in blank pages. On those pages would go a chronological diary, or as George Washington put it, where and how my time is spent. This practice of recording one's days on limited pages familiarized people with regular abbreviated forms of writing about themselves, the foundation of modern journaling. As the years progressed, almanacs fell out of fashion and were replaced with pocketbooks that invited users to input more information than ever before. Demand only grew as people saw the opportunities held between the covers. It was a way to track finances and the rise of colonial commerce, a more accurate timepiece when mechanical time had yet to be perfected, and an account for one's time to God. By the mid-19th century, with printing costs at an all-time low and literacy at an all-time high, its place was secured in the cultural landscape. The pocketbook, or diary, or journal, was marketed under many names, but it was consistent in its promise. It was a way to make time one's own. With a journal, time was more than days and hours. It could be money spent and earned, distances traveled, and places explored. It captured the rhythms of life as it was lived. People saw this power and refused to let it go. So, nowadays, while the form and technology may be more diverse, that promise, that reclamation of time, remains. Okay, so what really struck me about the evolution of the daily planner is how responsive the design was. Like, there would be this product, this book, and then people would just use it wrong. On purpose. They'd write in the margins, they'd sew in pages, they would spread out one annual planner over the course of years. But then, after seeing how people actually used the product, publishers would update their designs, only to have it revamped by people all over again. It was this iterative process that was driven by the people who were actually using the product. They didn't just comply with the framework that they were given, they broke and bent it to work for them. However, I don't want to buy a $30 planner only to ignore the guidelines. So when I try and think of an organizational tool that has it built in to allow for this kind of flexibility and iteration, I can only think of bullet journals. It's a minimalist journaling system designed by Ryder Carroll. It uses a blank notebook, which makes the cost of entry relatively low. Traditionally, bullet journals are made up of 4 modules: a table of contents, a 6-month view, a monthly view, and a daily view. However, in a throwback to 17th century pocket diaries, the bullet journal method embraces flexibility and encourages users to define their own layouts using modules they find online or otherwise invent. Things like habit trackers, weather forecasts, or savings goals. And when it comes to bullet journals, there is only one person I can think of talking to. Nervous. Hi there, Amanda. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? It's nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
This is AmandaRachLee, an artist known for her bullet journaling videos that have amassed over 150 million views. Do you mind telling me why you started journaling and bullet journaling?
I felt like just writing down my tasks was kind of not enough for me to motivate me and for me to feel good about getting stuff done. So about 4 years ago, I discovered bullet journaling on the internet, and it was just kind of fascinating to me how customizable it was.
The more we talked, the more I realized that bullet journals had the flexibility I needed. But I didn't know how to start. Somebody who's just starting out, who's feeling a little bit overwhelmed, maybe because the past year and a bit has been a lot. What tips do you think you'd have for them?
2020 did not turn out how any of us expected. And there was that, that whole running joke of what was the point of buying a 2020 planner, I really always recommend for people to start off simple, and then they're able to add any modules or things to their productivity system. I kind of like viewing it almost like a time capsule. And when I'm writing in my bullet journal or journal, it's very much so me time. Yeah, you can kind of use it as a hybrid of a journal, planner, anything else. It's kind of all up to you.
I love that. Sweet. Thank you so much for chatting.
Bye.
Okay, so y'all know what this has been leading into. I'm making a bullet journal. But not just any bullet journal, because I think that there are 3 reasons why my past attempts have always failed. Number 1, I just copy a layout I found online without thinking if it actually worked with the way I live my life. Sure, I could try and experiment and iterate based off of that layout, but then there's problem number 2. I feel really bad about messing up cute and expensive notebooks. I know it's dumb, but they're leather bound and they're $30. I would rather leave it pristine than waste pages with experimentation. And last but not least, there's problem number 3. They just seem like a massive commitment. I gotta fill out this whole notebook with stuff I do every day? What if I don't do anything that day? Is there just gonna be a weird blank spot? What if I'm too busy to fill it out? Then, what's the point? So here's my solution. We appreciate your time. I'm gonna be making my own notebook, and it's only gonna be for 1 month. So I'm just using stuff I own and then a couple of other things I got from the dollar store. So it comes out to less than $10. It's low commitment, and it forces me to reconsider the system that I'm using every single month. That's long enough for me to get used to it, but short enough for me to power through any inefficiencies. So join me in my first attempt at bookbinding. I wonder how this'll go. Probably not well. I was actually hoping to design the pages on my iPad because I have the handwriting of a 5-year-old. But I don't have a printer because I'm not 50 and libraries are closed because of the panorama. Okay. How many pages do I need? I want 36 pages, and I'm gonna split each one of these into 4. Shout it out with me. It's like Dora the Explorer. Yell it out, kids. It's 9? It's 9. Big brain. I'm just trying to get these satisfying clips, and it's just not happening. Yeah, that didn't work. Where is my box cutter? Found it. Oh damn, she's whipping out the toolkit. I did it. This goes here. Ooh, successful! So I folded all the pages in half. Now I'm gonna fold them in half again. Just so that they're small enough to fit into my butt pocket, which is honestly the only pocket in women's jeans that can hold anything. So I'm just gonna, cool, I did it. Is this butt pocketable? Oh, ooh, I'm not gonna show my butt because you guys are weird sometimes. I made the cover from some craft bags because I like the look. See, that's perfect size. I cut it down to size. Okay, time to bind it. Poked holes in the spine. Ah! And cut. And stitched it all together. I'm kind of shocked at how easy that was. Does it pass the pocket test? It does! And I just realized that my graph paper is bigger on one side than the other. This is one size. Who's the other size?
They're the same picture.
Okay, I gotta clean up like all of this and all of this before I get started on filling out that notebook. I just made this journal for February because I've already given up on January. Anyway, I made the first page a side quest. Basically, it's one habit I wanted to pick up next month and a reward if I do it. I bought an exercise bike at the start of quarantine and then never used it. So that's my goal for February, and if I do it, I get yogurt pretzels. Now it's time to actually fill out the journal part of this. Then I made 2-page spreads for every single day. For now, I only intend to put in to-dos because I have a digital calendar for events and meetings. The tasks primarily go on the right side, while my feelings for the day, like a journal, go on the left. Look at that. It's not even centered. I need to be okay with making ugly things. And now I'm
Done! It's a new day because I ran out of sunlight yesterday because the sun's only around for like 5 minutes. So I decided to keep my layouts extremely simple for 2 reasons. One, simple is usually better for beginners, but also, while I appreciate the artistry that people like Amanda put into their journals, that's not me. But that's okay. And actually, I think that is the biggest takeaway I got from everything I learned for this video. It's that you can't expect a system that is bought off of store shelves or found on internet tutorials to work perfectly for you, because they weren't built for you. Your life is complex. It has its own unique tempos and timings, and nobody but you can truly know them. Now, I don't mean sitting around thinking about thinking, but rather acknowledging that the system that you're using right now, no matter what it is, probably isn't perfect. But instead of giving up, instead of waiting for a new year or new stationery to inspire you, ask yourself, what's the problem? Is it too much work? Is it in the wrong medium? By asking these questions ever so slowly, you begin to break the system so that it works for you. Eventually, I hope that this little notebook becomes part of a greater collection, each one a step towards making my life feel a little bit more in control, because right now, it doesn't. And all of that work might come with a little bit of a bonus. You see, the book I read, The Accidental Diarist, accidental, it's named after people like me, or maybe you, who just needed a tool to organize their day-to-day lives or their households. Every day or every so often, they jot down the things that they needed to do or have done. And over time, they had pages on pages documenting their lives. Sure, a simple dinner a week from now might just be a dinner, but 10 years from now, it could be the anniversary of something bigger than you could have ever imagined. Our lives are made up of little moments, thoughts, and to-dos. And all I can hope is to have a system that works well enough to capture it. I hope you do too. Hey there, I hope you liked that video. If you did, please consider sharing it with a few friends. It goes a long way on YouTube. You may also want to check out our playlist where we figure out why things are the way they are. Like, why do crimes expire? Or how do conspiracies work? But stick around for a second because we are thanking Skillshare for sponsoring this video. If you don't know, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes covering just about any skill, from entrepreneurship to video making to journaling. Now, journaling is not only great for organizing your future, it's also amazing for reflecting on your past. Luckily, Amanda has a class called Art Journaling for Self-Care, 3 exercises for reflection and growth. It's short and it provides a really nice framework to explore your joys and challenges. But Skillshare is way more than just journaling. They're always launching new classes that Melissa, Taha, and I are using to keep our video skills sharp, and you can join us for less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. But here's the juicy bit: the first 1,000 of y'all to join Skillshare's learning community by clicking the link in the description will get a free trial of a premium membership. So whether you want to explore new skills, deepen existing passions, or get lost in creativity, get started with Skillshare. But either way, have a lovely day.